Okay, let me introduce Dr. Serekan to our PhD class of 2021. Dr. Serekan has earned his PhD law from Brunel University, London, and he has been one of the wonderful researchers around us. And he focused on online dispute resolution with special reference to online trade, what's going on in the world. So, what we will see that he will talk to us on doctrinal research method vis-a-vis his research area. So the floor is yours, sir, so you can talk to our students, and here we go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Dr. Daniel Khan for inviting me. Just during my PhD and some part of my LLM, I was working on online dispute resolution, and I realized that why, like countries such as Turkey, Pakistan, why we are not using that, the facilities. When we look at advances legal systems such as EU, US, we are a few steps back of these countries. So we need more enhanced the litigation system through online dispute resolution. So that's why I was, during my PhD and LLM, I was working online dispute resolution. Before that, a little bit, I would like to talk about how we can conduct the research methods. Basically, the most students during the marking or during the LLM or PhD, we are observing that when they cite articles, when I ask that which articles how you choose articles and how you cited this one, they are always saying that, we are going to reading this article, they cited that article, that's why we cited that article is not true. So how we can do the research properly? Basically, there is some systematic literature review, the ways we can, Web of Science, you heard it, I think, and Scoops as well. When you log in Web of Science and Scoops, one disadvantage of Web of Science is only you can access through that website under the Wi-Fi of the university, So when you go to the Web of Science, when you search the keywords, they will you will reach to the results of the most cited papers. So you can go to read these the most cited papers and look at in the doctoral research methodology, we need to look at that. We need to make the literature review first, where literature start and what's the gap in that literature, and how we can fill in these literature. So when we go to the Web of Science, the research website, we look at the most cited papers, and then we can see that how research conducted, what's the gap, and how we can fill in that gap. So what's the meaning of doctoral research methodology? Doctoral research methodology means that, what's the current issue in your topic? You need to have the specific research question, yeah? And under that research question, you have the issues. You will look at what's your issues and how, law apply that issues, means that doctoral research methodology. We need to be careful, and when we prepare the bibliography, we need to use basically the systematic literature review. Today, I will talk more about online dispute resolution. Before the coronavirus, I start to work on that. Nowadays, is the most famous one because people cannot meet in person and they cannot travel. So that's why the most of the countries suddenly move to online dispute resolution. What is the online dispute resolution means? There is no widely accepted definition of online dispute resolution. When we look at, there is two definitions of online dispute resolution. One is described by American Bar Association as well. They said any dispute resolution body systems combines with information communication technology can be referred as an online dispute resolution. When we accept that definition, it means that any dispute resolution system, including that traditional litigation, the court system, will be when they combine with the information communication technology, will be described as a online dispute resolution. On the other hand, some scholars in literature, they describe online dispute resolution only a combination of alternative dispute resolution, which means, arbitration, mediation, negotiation, when they combines with information communication technology, can be described as a online dispute resolution. When we look at the practice, in the most cases, online dispute resolution means a combination of alternative dispute resolution with information communication technology. In Turkey, I believe that Turkey and Pakistan have the similar culture. So that's why, we have the similar approach to the law as well. So really, we are the back of some jurisdiction system like EU and US, because they are very advanced. They have the very advanced legal system. So when we look at the court system in Turkey, especially, a period of the time takes court is in the first instance court, it takes more than 2 years. So when we look at that, the people will have they can appeal the decision of the court as well. Roughly, we can say, in order to reach a final judgment, will take roughly 4 and 5 years. So it means that there's a delay justice. So delay justice is not justice. There is a common sentence. So that's why we need to meet the requirement of digital. We are living in the digital society. We have the smartphones. Maybe the number is not equal to the numbers of the European Union and US regarding buying online, shopping online. Utilize the information communication technology, but we can say that day by day, the number of the using internet and using the information communication technology in professional activities increasing day by day. But when I look at the statistic which provided by Statista, in the most cases, in Pakistan and also in Turkey as well, the number of the internet users are high. But when we look at, they are using internet in social media more, rather than using in professional activities. Basically, the people using the time while using internet in YouTube, Facebook, etc. So, but day by day, of course, they are starting because when I joined my PhD, I compared the EU and Turkey, but there are some economic challenges, cultural challenges, and legal challenges. You cannot copy a legal reform to paste to your country. You need to analyze the cultural challenges. You need to remove that challenges as well. So it is not easy, but it will take time. But it is, that we need to that, So because of that, we didn't expect that coronavirus. Every places are outbreak, and the bad traveling, is banned. The meeting in person is banned. So that's why we need to use that one. The number. That increasing of using online dispute resolution was okay, but the result of that coronavirus speedily, the increase the using number of the online dispute resolution. So when I mentioned that online dispute resolution, we can describe as a combination of alternative dispute resolution and information communication technology. The when a dispute arises between disputant parties, the first thing comes to our mind in Pakistan or in Turkey, I mean that in developing countries who has the same similar culture, the first thing comes to our mind is to take that dispute to court. We are not thinking to resolve our dispute out of the court, because we are very litigious, you know, the people. So the first thing comes to our minds is to take that dispute to the court. So we need to think about the alternative dispute resolutions method, especially mediation and arbitration. But it is not enough, because we are living in information communication technologies. I mean that age. So we need to upgrade that alternative dispute resolution, because in the even when we compare the court system with alternative dispute resolution, it provides, of course, flexibility. I mean that saving time. It is costly. I mean that is cheaper, but still you need to meet in person. But because there is a difficulties, like you need to travel, you need to have face-to-face meeting for resolving disputes through online alternative dispute resolution. So that's why we need to there is a need for upgrading the alternative dispute resolution body to online dispute resolution. The most common forms of online dispute resolution is online negotiation, online mediation. Another page, Dr. Daniel. Online arbitration and online mediation. Basically, in online negotiation, you know, the negotiation means there is no third parties. The parties without any third party, they are trying to reach an agreement. There are two types online negotiation. One is assisted negotiation, another one is automated negotiation. In assisted negotiation, the disputants are trying to reach an agreement. If they need any help, third parties trying to involve in the process. But in automated negotiation, it is totally, you know, the online. There is like automatic system. You know, the people give the offer, and another part cannot see others' offer. I mean that it is designed by the software trying to lead to the parties, and parties trying to reach an agreement. Another part is online mediation. You know, in the mediation, there is a third party, but we should be careful. That third party, which we call mediator, is different than I mean that arbitrator, because in mediator, in the mediation, third party doesn't have the right to give decision. Just try to help people disputing to reach an agreement. On the other hand, when we look at arbitration is I mean that there is it's in some literature they say it's alternative of the court, but it is not, because in arbitration disputants, like you know, when they apply to the court, there is a third party, independent third party. They are giving to the final decision, arbitrators, and that decisions are binding on, I mean, the parties. You know, there are more than, I think, 180 countries, which is a part of the New York Convention. Under that convention, you know, the arbitral award will be enforced under that New York Convention. So that's why arbitration is giving, like, you know, the final result and final resolution. So that's why in the most B2B dispute, I mean that business to business dispute, the parties willing to use arbitration. The last method, we can say that mid-arb, it's like combination of mediation and arbitration. You know, both mediation and arbitration has both advantage and disadvantage. When we combine that, we can bring the advantage of the both methods together, such as in mediation, the parties, if they, you know, I mean, that decline to or abandon to continue the process, they can, but in arbitration they can't, because if the parties start to arbitration process, the final decision will be given by the arbitrator, and that will be binding on parties. In mediation, in any process of the mediation, parties can bond from this process. So we can combine the both advantage of the mediation and arbitration together, which we call that one med-arb. Online dispute resolution, maybe in the most cases, culturally, as I said, in Turkey and in Pakistan, I believe. If I'm wrong, please let me know. In most cases, even when we buy shirts, we want to go to the shopping to touch. We need to have like lunch together, having coffee, taste it. We are not ready move to the online, the 100%. So that's why we can't live our culture. If you want to, to buy a shirt, say better to go to the meet with friends and having a coffee together or tea together, and then to buy the shirts. Maybe your priority is going to the to meet friends rather than having shirts. So it is not easy to move to online dispute resolution. So especially when we look at the huge the dispute which has the huge amount like B2B disputes, maybe it is not easy to move online dispute resolution. People even don't believe in in meeting in conducted person. The people even don't believe that the court. So how they will manage to resolve that dispute through online? So it is not easy. My suggestion is maybe like countries such as Turkey or Pakistan can start from the beginning for B2C dispute. Like try that online dispute resolution for consumer dispute, because there are the low value. Then if it reaches success, then we can extend to that huge value amount of the dispute. So better to have tested in consumer disputes. When we look at the most successful system, the most one is eBay. Every year they are resolving 60 million disputes every year. In Alibaba, more than 150 million disputes are resolved through online dispute resolution. 50% of the dispute in eBay resolved amicably, and could you imagine that 90% of that dispute resolved in software? That there is no human intervention. So we can test online dispute resolution in small cases such as consumer dispute. If it reaches success, then we can extend to another dispute. When we look at what is the legal framework of that online dispute resolution, I would like to say that there is no binding online dispute resolution international binding legislation, but there are some developments. There is the uncertain technical laws on online dispute resolution, which is not binding. It's only for the recommendation. Also, in the Council of the European work, there is some studies on online dispute resolution mechanism. As I said, there is no binding international legislation on online dispute resolution. When we look at alternative dispute resolution, they have the similar. If there is no specific, they are trying to apply for the rules which is stated for alternative dispute resolution. When we look at EU has their specific regulation on online dispute resolution. As I said, online dispute resolution is a part of the alternative dispute resolution. So EU has EC Directive on Mediation 2018. We can look at that regulation. And specifically on online dispute resolution, in 2013, EU introduced alternative dispute resolution directive and online dispute resolution regulation 2013. That regulation, EU ODR regulation 2013, established an online dispute resolution platform, which came to enforce in 2016. That platform resolved only consumer disputes. Of course, that platform can be used only for disputes arising from online transaction, which I am not agree on, because when you go buy an iPhone on store, you cannot use that platform, but on the other hand, when you buy online, you can use that. There is no difference. Of course, there is some, the reason why they restrict that platform for only online transaction, because in online transaction, the bills, evidence can be evaluated easily, but that EUDR platform try to, resolve the disputes between member states. So maybe that shopping transaction between member states will, that it will be difficult to, evaluate evidence, but at least for the domestic dispute, like, that a dispute arising between a consumer who live in UK and between a trader who established in the UK can be, that at least, that accepted for the online transaction. It's my opinion. Who can use that platform? A consumer who lives in the EU, of course, can use, and the trader is based on the EU can use that platform. That platform is free of charge. Any consumer who, that login can submit a complaint against a trader. Where when you can look at as well, maybe you can work on how we can learn from the EU to apply to the Pakistan law, because there is a successful example in the EU and the US as well. So you can work on feasibility analysis of online dispute resolution in Pakistan, because it is not easy, as I said, to copy it. That transfer a legal rules from EU to Pakistan. You need to, it looks like, you can't take a part of the body from one people to another so you need to look at, the cultural, economic, and legal challenges. And then you can eliminate some parts of that, the transfer. So when you go to the EU ODR platform website, then can you go to another slide? One more, please. Yes, one more. Yes, thank you. Consumer can submit the complaints in that ODR platform. ODR platform, without waiting, transfer your application to trader. Trader has 10 days to respond to your message, informing either he wants to, or he or she wants to, join to alternative dispute resolution, because you are submitting online. After that, you need to reach an agreement on alternative dispute resolution bodies, which will resolve dispute. Either trader can reply or not, which will I criticize that one as well. So when the party reach an agreement on choosing alternative dispute resolution body, and then body will start to resolve their disputes. There is some shortcomings of that EU ODR platform, because it's not now well. People are not aware of using that one. When you log in that platform, they are asking the traders email address. When we think that that platform resolves only transaction dispute arising from online transactions, sorry. When you buy when you shop online, you will receive a confirmation from the trader. Am I right? So, but in most cases, that confirmation email are don't reply email. So you need to find proper email address of that trader to fill in that form. Otherwise, you cannot send your, at least trader will not be able to reach your email to reply your message. Another one is when you submit that your complaint that EUDR platform, it is not compulsory for trader to reply you. So they can be on silence. Because that EUDR platform is free of charge, and in most cases it's free of charge for the consumers. It means that trader will pay if they choose an IDR body to resolve their dispute. So as a trader, traders, why they want to they don't want to pay the fee of the ADR, that fee. So that's why they are not obligated to reply. But my suggestion is maybe EU can provide fine to provide the fund for the fee of the ADR's fee. Otherwise, I think applications will be closed because of if a trader doesn't reply the message of the consumers. When we look at the statistic which was provided by EU, the 55% of the application are closed because trader don't reply the message of the consumer. So we need to make obligation for the traders to at least involve in the process. Well, how we can develop that EUDR platform? Basically we can use more that software. Basically we can use a problem diagnosis, which means that at least maybe you are thinking that there is a problem, but maybe it's not. In Turkey or in the UAE we have the same. If you buy an items or service in online, you have the right to ask refund. Yeah, am I right? But if you buy the same item in store, you can have only the rights of the exchange. You don't have the rights of the refund. Of course, some that brands or stores giving opportunities to refund, but law says if that a store doesn't want to have refund, only they are obligated to exchange, but they are not obligated to refund. Yeah, I don't know how it works in Pakistan, but in EU and in Turkey, as I said, if you buy items in online, you have the rights to ask to refund. But if you buy in store, that offline transaction, you have the rights to exchange, not refund, but the trader can extend that right. It's okay. So in any case, you think that you have the rights of the refund, which you are not. So you are submitting that, that problem to EUDR platform, and it will be in that current situation, it will be forwarded to the trader. My suggestion is we can establish a problem diagnosis, which firstly clarify whether there is a dispute or not. Maybe after that clarification, consumer will be satisfied, and then he or she will not be willing to continue. Another my suggestion is we should make mandatory for traders to involve in the process. When we look at the characteristic of the consumer dispute, in the most cases they are the low value disputes. When a mediator or arbitrator involved in any process, we need to give the fee for the that arbitrator or mediator. Instead of that, we can use more online negotiation. As I said, no third party involvement in the process. We can use the online negotiation. That as much as possible, we need to utilize information communication technology, not to allow that a third party to involve in process, because when a third party involved in the process, the expenses of that that process will be costly. So that's why as much as we need to use that platform. I mean that, and we need to utilize that information communication technology as much as we can. So I think it's enough. If you have any question, I can reply. As I said, we have I can imagine that, you know, we have the same, nearly same culture. So of course, when we implement, I mean that when we work on the feasibility analysis, that EODR platform in Pakistan, of course, it will take time, but maybe it will take 5 years, but 10 years. But you know, you will see that, you know, everything will go through the you know, information communication technology, inevitable. So that's why we need to start to do from today.
Thank you very much. I was talking on mute. It was informative for us. And I was talking to my colleague that he's talking about one of the aspects of artificial intelligence. Yes, we got questions for you. And here we go. So we got a practicing lawyer who got, I think, 15 years standing in court. So he got some question. His name is Niaz. So he's our PhD candidate. So he'll be talking to you. Yes, Niaz, sir.
Alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How about you? I'm really fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very informative. But Doctor, while listening your lecture, I was thinking about either do you still believe that living in Pakistan or in Turkey, that we can afford such like workforce and human resource to cope with the online dispute resolution?
You know, before the coronavirus, I was thinking that maybe it will take more time, but you know, result of the coronavirus shows that, you know, there is like speedily increasing using of the online dispute resolution. You know, people will be used to use, before the coronavirus, buying online was like around 30% in Turkey, but now is like more than 60-70%. You know, because you cannot go to the shop and you cannot meet in person. And there is in Turkey, there is like Istanbul Arbitration Center. Maybe you heard about that one. And also ICC, International Chamber of Commerce. They start to use, before that, of course, they were the, you know, good example, a successful example using arbitration, but now they are allowing the parties to join the online arbitration from the beginning to end, you know. So I think it will take time, but I believe in few years, you know, Pakistan also will remove the at least 50% or 60%. The dispute will be resolved through, I mean that online, at least I think. So as a research, you know, we need to work feasibility. You know, what's the legal challenges? You know, it is easy to bring the laws, the regulations. You know, we need to look at the practice. You know, how, whether people are ready or not. Even, you know, when I suggest our you know, scholars here, they say, oh, we are using FaceTime, WhatsApp. You know, we can meet. I mean, that we can like Zoom. We are using, but it's not easy. That, you know, you need to have the, you know, the freedom to access to the internet. At least the government has to provide free, I mean that internet for the, because the people doesn't have eligibility to use computer very well. You know, the dispute has the equal, I mean that at least eligibility to use, you know, in the litigation, one word change the result. So they need to have the, you know, the power. They don't, I mean that as we had at the beginning, into the weak connection, if you don't hear a word, maybe it can be misunderstood and then change the result. So of course we can, you know, having like online dispute resolution, but there are some standards which we need to meet, like, you know, affordability, confidentiality, security, you know, many we need to have some criteria to having that online dispute resolution platforms.
It's still in virtuality.
Sorry, could you? Yeah.
I mean, this is still, I mean, virtual plan, not being executed anywhere in third world country.
In Turkey, we start to use, even when in Turkey in the court system, they allowing having the online hearings. You can allow to submit your papers online, and then hearings are conducted online. But I think a few step backs. I think in Pakistan. Am I right? That one.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Because I talked to some of my friends, I said maybe we can work on a project together, how we can improve the online dispute resolution in Pakistan. But in Pakistan, some of my colleagues told me that it will take time. People are not ready for that. Even they are not ready buying the online. But at least you will have the always my plan, not only for that project, for all the project, you need to be pioneer. You need to take the first, the steps, whether it will go well or not.
Great. That's great. And Aga, and one thing I would, Sarikan, Dr. Sarikan is hosting a conference which I have already shared in our PhD group. So they are hosting a well-reputed conference, and if you submit your paper, you will have a chance to publish in Scopus Indexed or ISI Master Listing. So it is also recognized by HEC. And I believe that if you published in Scopus Indexed or ISI Master Listing, so it is already X category. And I believe that you all need to publish it. So you can submit your articles once again with reference to what I have shared before in the PhD WhatsApp group. So I will share it again if you want. So you can
it's
submit
my pleasure. Thank you so much,
research
Daniel.
ideas with you can just submit your abstracts now, and at the end you can just get your articles published there. Is there any other question? I believe we got one question from our senior colleague. So he has been teaching in this department since last 10 years or so, I believe. So he's Mirza Khurram Beg, and he is also practicing lawyer. So Mirza Saab, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab.
Alaikum salam, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Saab, I am after your lecture, I was thinking on that how people will develop trust level on ODR system. Is it compatible in Pakistan?
The question of trust.
Yeah, there is two ways. At the beginning, I told that what's the meaning of online dispute resolution for us? If we accept that a combination of litigation with information communication technology, that should be designed by the government. Yeah, it should be provided by government, like providing the online hearings, accept online submissions. Yeah, if we accept online, that litigation which combines with information communication technology. But in Turkey, I don't know whether the legislation of Pakistan allow or not. But in Turkey, there is some criteria to be to be mediator or arbitrator. So that mediator, arbitrator, negotiation is an alternative dispute resolution. Anybody who can provide that, that services. So I don't know, is there any criteria to be a mediator in Pakistan?
Mediator in Pakistan. Do you know anyone who
Sir, in Pakistan, I think there is no such mechanism on government level.
Okay, in Turkey, you need to pass the exam and you need to be educated on that mediation. What you can do, which I am doing in Turkey as well, to establish a firm who giving the services of alternative dispute resolution system, methods. So anybody who apply you are appointing a accredited mediator or arbitrator. It depends on the freedom of the parties, So under the freedom of the contract, the parties are able to choose the mediator or arbitrator to reach an agreement. So that's why, as I said, if you want to move your litigation system to online dispute resolution, that should be, I mean, that designed by the government. But if you want to provide services on only alternative dispute resolution, which combines information communication technology, which is, you can do that one by private companies.
Great. That's
Thank you very much.
thank you very much, Serkan. Can we stop recording and live streaming
Sure.
here because the lecture continues?